Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Back to School Night. My name is Mike Messner, and I am your children's civics teacher. And I know we have very little time tonight. I want to honor the time that we have. So I wanted to say just a little bit about myself, and then I wanted to do sort of a frequently asked questions for my civics classes for your kids. Now, I know that you clicked on this link not to hear their teacher talk about himself, but to hear about what your students are learning. But I still think it's important that you know a little bit about this person who's spending so much time with your children. So, a little bit about me. I'm a graduate of our fine institution. I graduated in 1990, and yes, that is 30 years, and I'm reminded of it every time I get up in the morning. I graduated from Los Altos. I went on to get a degree at UC Davis in history. And then I spent a lot of the following year living in Central America and in the Caribbean, teaching English and working on sister city projects. I came home to get a master's degree at Sacramento State in history. I did my thesis on Proposition 13. And then I got my teaching credential in social studies at San Jose State. In between those two CSUs, I worked in some companies in Silicon Valley and then realized I didn't like getting laid off. And that's why what led me into the teaching business. So here's a little snapshot of the family. This is my wife, Nancy. She is a teacher of science at Sunnyvale Middle School. This is our son, Stephen. He is a newly crowned seventh grader at Graham. And this is the next pet we will have. Well, not really. We need a very big tank, but our current pet is named Snoopy. He is a 13-year-old purebred beagle, and there he is in all his glory. So I thought that the best way to address tonight would be through some frequently asked questions, the ones that I most often get when I'm talking to parents. So that's why I wanted to do this way. So why does he love teaching this class, meaning civics? It's because we need active citizenship in our school and in our nation and, of course, in our state at a time when so few people know really how the government works, perhaps how it ought to work, how it sometimes malfunctions. This is a time when it's probably as important at any other time in the history of our republic that we have well-informed citizens. And that is why I love teaching this class and what I hope I'll impart to your kids. How can I help my student prepare for tests in civics? You come to review sessions and you pay attention in them. Before we have any major test, I will have a review session, at least one, during my Zoom office hours, which will be on Tuesdays and Fridays from 2:30 to 3:45. I can do other times if there's a demand for those, as long as I know that people will actually be showing up for them. Because as I said earlier, I want to honor my time, your time, and their time. Number 3, how often will there be pop quizzes to keep kids on their toes? And the answer is never. I don't believe in them. I don't think it's good teaching. I think it's more of a scare tactic that some of my counterparts use, and it really doesn't set kids up to succeed. And I don't want to set your kids up to fail. I want to set them up to succeed. So there will never be any pop quizzes in my class. Okay, Johnny finished an assignment and turned it in late. How much credit will he lose? Okay, there will be no penalty unless something is turned in after the end of the quarter, and then it's 50%. This is something that my partner Seth Donnelly and I decided over the summer that given the fact that this school year is so very unusual, we wanted to give students plenty of time to get things done and to get revisions as needed. At the end of the quarter, probably time to move on, especially because at the end of the quarter, that's half of all the time we will be spending with your kids. So that is the policy for late submissions. Number 5, what's the revision policy in your class? students can make as many revisions as they need to before we get to the end of the quarter. So the idea is that they will be given feedback on their assignments on a continual basis until they've really nailed it, until they've really mastered it, until they've really gotten a handle on the content. Then we'll enter grades. Okay, but until that time, I'm not going to be giving grades until either we've passed the end of the quarter or until they've really mastered things. So they will be given as many opportunities as they need to revise their work. Okay. Number 6, is there extra credit available? And the answer is yes. The catch to that is that it is only going to be worth 5% of the total grade tops. And there will be equal opportunities for all students to get extra credit. Now, I have to emphasize that this is not something that will carry your child to an A plus all by itself. They still have to do the work, but the extra credit can be very helpful if they want to push it over the end. And I will give more information on that as we get closer towards the end of the semester, because I don't want that to be foremost in your students' minds. Number 7, what organization should I consider giving to? Well, of course, I'm partial to the Mountain View Los Altos Educational Foundation, but a second choice would be to the Send a Civics Teacher to Maui Fund. Now, if this is not your thing, okay, for giving to the foundation, if it's not your thing, then just skip it. But it is a group that allows us to have a tutorial center, a college and career center, carpeting on the floor, classes that have limits on them in terms of numbers of students. So it's a really good outfit, and I would encourage you to consider making them part of your giving this school year. Number 8, and there's only 9 here, or 10, I guess. Okay, what's the best way of contacting Mr. Messner? Okay, the best way is going to be email, and my address is right there. It's also in many other places on our Canvas shell. It's probably on our staff directory webpage from the Los Altos High School website. That's just the easiest way, because after all, we are living in a digital age, and we are spending, all of us, a lot more time in front of our computers these days than maybe we're accustomed to. So that is how to get a hold of me, and I will do my best to respond in a matter of hours. Number 9, will we be covering the elections this semester? And the answer is absolutely yes. We are dealing with not only a global pandemic, we're dealing with an economy that is, if not technically in a recession, it's certainly in a downturn. We have unprecedented racial tensions, and we have ongoing issues like climate change, and all of these are happening at the same time. I dare say there will never be another election like this in our lifetimes, and so it's only fair that we spend some time on it. We'd be spending time on any presidential election, but certainly we'll be spending this one. And my last one, okay? I ask, will you stay in touch with me this semester about your student? And of course, your answer will be, of course we will. And thank you for this presentation. So it only remains for me to thank you for sending such great kids to Los Altos High School. And I hope you have an informative evening. If you have any other questions, please use that email address that I gave you. I wish you all the best, and I bid you a good evening.